Hey guys, welcome to 10 Minute English with May. And today we're looking at the last writing and language passage for our 2017 January test. Okay, so the title, Fire in Space, that is very ambiguous. So we need to make sure we understand what that refers to. So we have to read the introduction. On Earth, fire provides light, heat, and comfort. Its creation by a process called combustion requires a chemical reaction between a fuel source and oxygen. The shape that fire assumes on Earth is a result of gravitational influence and the movement of molecules. So this is just background info, right? But then we see the title is Fire in Space, so whether it's on Earth or not, so far it's not irrelevant. It's not relevant. And then we see there in the microgravity of space, and we know this has to be a contrast word, right? However, combustion and a resulting fire behave in fundamentally different ways. So how different? Differences that have important implications for researchers. So if they say it's important for them, it's important for us, right? A group of engineering students from the University of California of San Diego, for example, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so for 35, this is actually quite tricky, but this is testing us on the rules of misplaced modifier. So if you do recognize the modifier in this case, the thing that comes in parentheses, that is our appositive, our non-essential appositive. And a rule for modifier is that it has to be placed as close to its antecedent, which is the noun, and modifies as possible. So we need to make sure the last word is what the fuels modify. So that's why the answer is D, biofuels. All right. Okay, so this is a tricky one. But anyway, we see that this is a research context, right? So they start to do the test. The method involves burning droplets of fuels, but Earth's gravitational influence causes the droplets to lose spherical symmetry. All right, so losing spherical roundness is the problem due to gravity. So whenever there is a problem, we know that there is going to be a solution, right? So 36, which provides the most precise description of the phenomenon depicted in the previous sentence, which is lose its shape. So changing shape, that is deformation, results in subtle variations in density that both blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So we know both and is a paired conjunction. So by process of elimination, right? Actually they all have and, but then if we take a look here, do we have parallel? We can cross out the ones that don't, right? Because C is out, it says cause and limits. That is incorrect. Whereas A says causes and limits, B says cause and limit, they're both plural, and D says has caused and has limit. Now, what are we referring to? Well, it depends on what the that is referring to. And that is referring to our subtle variations in density. So variations is a plural noun. That is why whenever you see relative pronoun, you need to find the antecedent directly. And I would say this is a very tricky one because usually it's the noun right before. But we know in density here, it's essential prepositional phrase that modifies variations. So variation is your antecedent. I'm going to write ant, which is plural. So that's why for 37, the answer is B. Okay. Next, Specifically designed drop towers. Well, since it already says specifically designed, we don't need to say for this purpose. So we know 38, this is just redundancy. So we can just delete because A, B, C are highly repetitive. Okay. And now 39 says, which provides the most effective transition between ideas in the paragraph? Okay, so what is the idea before? It says they designed this drop towers to reduce problems, but the solution itself is not perfect, right? Because they provide no more than 10 seconds of microgravity. So that is talking about limitation of solution. And droplet size is still too small, again, limitation, to produce accurate models of combustion rates. So whenever there is a problem or limitation, they want to solve it as well. So the best transition will lead to the sentence after. Researchers fly their experiments aboard aircraft that simulate microgravity, and that is the solution. So the answer for this would actually be B, because they sought to overcome these difficulties, which is the same as solving problems. Okay, so that is where juxtaposition comes into play. And for number 40, we see punctuation again, which is essential or non-essential. Whenever you see the word or, you have to know that, all right, whatever comes after or is a synonym. So synonyms are non-essential. So what is the synonyms here? Weightlessness is the same as microgravity, similar to what is experienced in space, right? So after you cross out this whole thing, you still have a complete sentence. Weightlessness is achieved. And that means you need to enclose the whole non-essential information with insert or commas, and that leaves D. And keep in mind that the comma has to come inside the quotation. All right, so I think we will talk more about this when we're talking about non-essential information using synonyms, but keep in mind that you need to have 2 commas. All right, 41. At this point, the writer is considering adding the following sentence and perform without traveling into space. Yes, of course, because we know that they experience this microgravity simulation, which is the solution. So it allows the student to experience microgravity on Earth. So it is relevant. Okay, so the answer will be A. It elaborates on the advantage. Okay, and 42. I don't think 42 is a particularly good question, so I'm going to skip it for now. If we go to 43, which choice most effectively establishes that the UCSD students' approach had solved a problem? So if you remember, you have to go back to the previous problem, which was deformation, right? It's not round. So solving the problem would make it round, and that is A, spherically symmetric. So it's very important for you to write down problem solution in these passages so you can go back to that very quickly. So for 44, we see that all the answer choices have different comma placement. So this is talking about comma usage and misusage. Okay, so let's see. Better combustion rate models may even lead to the production of more fuel-efficient engines and improved techniques for fighting fires. So we know for fighting fires in space, these are prepositional phrases. And remember, they are essential. So we should never use any commas before or after, all right? There are very, very rare exceptions where there is a non-essential prepositional phrase, but C would be our answer without preposition before or after. Okay, and that is it for today. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.